Welcome into ClayShareCon 2026 Day 4, and we have our last session before we break for our lunchtime video. We have Alex from Alexandria Pottery Co., and she's going to show us how to make a hand-built textured, my favorite thing, utensil crock. Well, printing's pretty close too, though, right? Printing and texture, although you can do both. And I'll be showing you how later. We'll talk about that another time. But look at this. I got one. You can get one too. Alex is going to show you how to use it. So let's head on out to her and get going. Hey, Alex. So glad you could join us again for ClayShareCon.
Thanks for having us back.
Woohoo!
We are excited. I know, this is fun. So we got to do 2 sessions this year, which we have not done yet. So thanks for everyone who tuned in yesterday for our hybrid demo. That was a lot of fun. Got a lot of really great messages. Keep them coming. We love being here with you guys. So I have, of course, a lot to do. So keep an eye on time. I know. So, and I'm feeling kind of spunky this morning. So if I get chatty, just let me know. So I know. So we have our, this is our crock jig. I know. So we have our crock jig here. I love this project because crock, this is a utensil. So if you don't know, you just kind of put your little kitchen utensils in here. And this is one of the things that we can make for the kitchen that stays out all the time, which I think is really great. So people really love handmade. They really love the design of it. And making larger forms can be tough because the larger your slab gets, the floppier it can be. And then if you let it set up too long to get the stiffness, sometimes it's hard to get your shape and things like that. So we have a few sizes, a few shapes. We are going to be doing our large one today for the people who cook a lot like me. I just have a ton of utensils. And then this is the jig here. We are going to build this. You can do it in both orientations. I'm going to try not to crash. I've got cameras everywhere here. So you can build it upside down or right side up. I kind of like the tapered in here, but today we're just going to do it the standard form. And if this shape is familiar, we designed this after our straight-sided. This is our straight-sided cafe jig. So it's like the big one, which is really cute. Okay, so I'm going to set this off to the side. I'll let you know what we've got. If you've not met me before, I am Alex. There were a lot of new people on, which I think is great. It's always nice to expand the family. What I have here is my clay. Why is it all wrapped up like a present? Because I want to give you something sweet. So I've got it over bending here, which I know we've been talking a lot about. And if you are having puckering at your seams, or if you are having issues with, crinkle stuff away, if you're having issues with your shape kind of going oval, I have a couple theories about that. So they say clay has memory. Someone said clay holds a grudge. It's not a memory, it just holds a grudge, which I thought was really funny because it only remembers the bad stuff. So if this looks weird to you, I've got videos explaining this. I think, Jess, you've gone over it. We'll let it unfurl. And then I've got our bottom cut out. We have an optional cutter for the bottom. You don't have to use this if you've got, we put measurements on the website. So if you've got a circle this size in your studio, great. If not, we do design these to fit. And for this one, there is a bottom cutter, and then there is a separate, if you do want to build this upside down, you'll need a larger cutter. So that you can get in the combo, that's separate. Why we want to cut this out first and set it off to the side, as you can see here, even my clay is just a little wet still. We want our bottom to be nice and firm. Hello. So it doesn't slump in the form. This is a much bigger bottom than your typical mug would be. So we want it to be set up nice and flat. If you do want it to set up into your form a little bit, that's fine too. And then we've got these cute little buttons. We're gonna put some oversized. Let me grab here. So we're gonna make a sweater utensil crock because why not put buttons on it? So cute. And we've got some buttons set out to the side. I've already cut those out. They are under plastic because we don't want those as firm as the bottom. You still want them to be able to bend flat piece around a round form. So let's unfurl this like a little spring fern. And then we are going to, I'll have Scott switch camera now so we can get up close and personal. Let's snuggle. All right, so the purpose of the overbending, you can see it's kind of doing its job here. It's just creating that nice round, that nice curl shape that we want to encourage the clay. So we're starting with a flat slab. We want to encourage this clay to go round like this into a cylinder. So this is just starting the process there. Now, I don't have, the texture I have right now doesn't have a direction. If you are using a directional pattern, if you don't want your umbrellas upside down, make sure you're keeping track of that at this point. We are going to build this form bottoms up. So the top will be on the bottom will be on the top. So like my Scandi birds, Jess, I love my bowl. I kept it because all my birds are upside down and it makes me happy because I'm like, all right,
That's all
nothing's
that
perfect.
matters.
My little birds are upside down and that's fine. So I'm going to do a quick dusting of cornstarch here. This is a large piece of clay. This is much bigger than our normal project. And then the larger you get, the more contact with the jig it's going to have. Make sure I'm in frame here for you. And so I give it a really healthy dusting. Honestly, I don't think you can overdo this. I think that, you know me, more is more. More must be better.
I'm right there with you. More is more. It really is.
I'm going to just like give you an insight into this jig. This does take longer to release from the form because of how much clay is wrapped around. So at this point, honestly, please don't skip this. And this will not harm your kiln elements. I still reclaim this clay. By the end of it, I'll show you on the inside when we clean it up. Most of this is gone. It just kind of goes away. So I like to frost, frost the brownie, frost the lemon bar, and that's good there. Okay, so you can be brave and take one really confident swoop towards your jig, or we can play it a little bit more safe. And I've been liking it this way, where I kind of start it on the clay, line up the bottom best you can, and then I just do the same motion I did with my rolling pin in the beginning to overbend it. And then this way, we're not really fighting that. Ta-da! I already gouged my bottom, so there's my clumsy Potter moment. For my friends who keep track of Alex's clumsy moments, right there. I already gouged a piece. I always do. If you ever get a piece from me, just look for a fingernail or fingernail print or a gouge. Okay, so when we are managing this, you don't want to rock it back and forth on your surface because it can curl up the bottom. So anytime you're checking anything, you're going to want to lift straight up and down. I'm going to lift this so you can see what we've got going around here. Nice contact all the way around. Our trouble point will be this back end. It gets a little saggy if you're not watching it. So I like to just give my banding wheel a spin, make sure my clay is hugging nicely. Now, if you've never used one of our jigs before, they're excellent. It's kind of like an extra hand in the studio. So I can do things like this and my clay will stay put because sometimes I like to do a jig in between. What's nice is it holds it on the inside for you. So as you're getting taller and taller pieces, it's not getting away from you because that can happen. So I like my inner seam to be on the jig. And then I have cut this extra. When you cut our templates, we have templates. I knew I was going to forget that. I always do. Hello. We have free templates for you on the website under templates. So your clay will fit the jig. I always recommend that you cut at least a 1/4 inch beyond the template. And then I like to do my final adjustments on jig because you just never know what your clay is going to do. My clay's cold. We're in Wisconsin. We've got 2 heaters going in here and it's still chilly. So my clay right now is it's not too far set up, but I can feel that it's kind of cold. So I like to do that adjustment on the fly. And all I'm going to do here is make a cut, a beveled cut. Hopefully you can see somewhat in there. And then we are going to join this halfway, or a little bit more than halfway. I'll give you a visual in a second here. I like to do these cuts on the jig, but you can 100% dial in your jig, and then you can get it to the point where you don't have to do cuts like this on jig. But this is just my preferred method. And then I just feel like I have a little bit more control over the join this way. And sometimes you have to just keep kind of cutting away at it. Go little by little here. This isn't where you want to get too overzealous because it is easier to keep cutting away than it is to stretch your clay. I have done that. I do that actually more often than I'd like to admit, where I cut too much off because I get excited and then I have to stretch my clay. So that's looking pretty good. I'm actually just going to fuss a little bit more just to bring this in a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more. You can stretch the clay on jig if you need to get a little bit of extra length. It's really nice and easy. You can just take your hands and squeeze. You can even lift and squeeze if you need to. So that looks like it's going to come together nicely. We are going to do a detail here along this seam. That's where our shirt detail and our little buttons are going to go. So if this gets a little bumpy here, that's not a big deal. So I'm going to score this up. Let me grab a little visual here for you. So we have this foot detail here. We are going to score and join this to just right below this first ridge. What we want is freedom of movement for the clay at the top. My hands are the clay. So as we start sculpting in this foot, we want the clay to be able to move in onto itself. So we don't want to secure the seam all the way top to bottom, just to that first ridge or a little bit under. So as I score this, Jess, we can chat because this just takes a minute or two, and this can be time for us to bring any
questions about a template for that jig.
Yeah. Yes,
you
ma'am.
have that on your website.
Yes.
For the dimensions. So,
yes.
And also if you send it to me as a PDF, I'll link it with this video too. So anyone watching here, they can go to your website, absolutely 100%. But also if they're here, I just want to make sure they have everything too. So we'll get that for you.
I love that. Okay, we've got Eagle Eye Scott on also. He heard that, so I'll have him get on that for us.
He'll get that. He'll get that.
Mm-hmm.
And then folks want to know, how much clay did you start with when you rolled out your slab?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did we measure that, honey? Will you measure the template? You'd think we'd be ready for this by now, because every year. You know what, guys? I'm not a numbers person, so I don't think in that way. Now, what I can tell you is that the moisture, it's not sticky to my fingerprint, so I can tell you that. But Scott's going to get us numbers, and then I'll come back with that. But it's a pretty large piece of clay. It takes my slab roller. You'll see in a second here behind me. It's just like a standard Shimpo. And the biggest slab I can roll, I use almost all of that for this. So I'm kind of mad. I may need a bigger slab roller. So I just want to mention really quickly while Scott's getting that measurement for you all, that I try really hard not to get any of my slip between the clay and the jig. That will just create a sticky paste, and that just makes removal hard. And this removal is already going to take us a little longer, so we don't want to create any extra issues. And then I have, for these larger forms, I've been coming off the edge of the banding wheel here just to make sure the bottom edge of the seam, remember, this is going to be our lip, so that's going to be facing the world. So we want to make sure that we're nice and secure there. Always dry hands. I'm not leaving fingerprints behind. And then if you really want some extra coverage there, you can come through with a brayer. Okay, so we've got our little flap. Okay, it is 19 inches by 7.5 inches, Jess. So 19 inches long, and that's before you add your 1/4 inch on either side. So your slab will have to be 1/2 inch. Our templates are fit to go around the jig, but they don't account for the clay that we put around.
Thickness of your clay. So if they're
so
a 1/4 and a 1/4, make it extra half. So it'd be 19 and a half.
Dear. 19,
by
so 8. Thank you. You're the best.
You're welcome. We should tell folks that are going to order that you have 10% off on your website, alexandriapotteryco.com, with the code pottery10. So you can save 10%. So if you want to get this clay share crock jig set, which you can,
and
you
extra
just
for Prime members.
Oh, yes, that's right. Premium members get a little
premium
extra.
members, thank you. Yeah.
The premium, they're the premium. They're the cream of the crop.
There's more.
So
I know.
Yes.
I'm watching your T-Bowl demo yesterday, and I was like, man, I'm glad to be here. I would have signed up if I wasn't already signed up. I was like, where are they going?
Go make a T-Bowl.
I am going to make one. You inspired me. So I just want to mention quickly as we start to shape this in, this is the warmth of your hands is all you need here. You were talking about that yesterday. That's sometimes the only tool you need, right? It's just your hands. So I really do love this part of just pressing in the clay. My clay is cold, so it's going to take me a little bit longer. The softer your clay is, the better. And then you can see we're already overlapping at that seam. The point here and what we're trying to do is create that nice slope inward, and it gives us that really beautiful taper towards our foot. And then I'm always minding my seam here. You might pucker a little bit at where we stopped scoring. That's okay. We will take care of that and we will streamline that all in. Now, if your clay is being extra, and for time's sake, I'm just going to push this along. Normally in my studio, I would just keep spinning and smushing until I get it. But you can also bring in some reinforcements with your clay paddle or with a brayer. Now this will stretch your clay, so make sure you're supporting. It doesn't matter if it's stretching up and in over itself here. What we don't want is to sag the clay that's making contact on that jig there all the way around. So I like to start from the back and then paddle forward. I like to always still paddle, even though this seam isn't locked in here. Remember, the clay holds a grudge. The clay has memory. So we want to start that process, especially at the seam there. So I'm just going to come around, really convince this clay to make contact. The rippling at the top is completely normal. The reason why this clay is above our jig here, is taller than our form, there we go, is because as we're sloping in, you're losing some height here. So if you cut it exactly to the jig, to that exact height, as you're pushing in here, your clay will fall beneath the jig, which honestly isn't a huge deal. You'll have a shorter form, and then you'll just have to account for that further on in your making process. But I like to stay ahead of that if I can. So now we're almost curled completely over here, and that's what we want to see. Now my clay, just to give you a visual here, this is how much we've squeezed over the seam. That's why you want to leave that. If we didn't leave that free there, this would just start puckering out, and we don't want to pucker. Okay, so as I'm cleaning this up, I'm going to cut a little bit into my first cut down here. And I am going to, as I bring this together, make sure I get in there and slip and score what I have just undone, just right at this point where it meets. I like to do that just to make sure that we get good closure there. And because we're stretching the clay, you want to make sure that you're accounting for that extra clay down there in the seam. So this is, again, a time to be patient. You don't have to cut a lot off here. And then while I am doing this, any other questions, dear? While I'm
So
buttoning
I'm
up
just
the rest?
going back, making sure everybody's got the right dimensions on this.
Thank you.
Because I don't want anybody, we will have that template, but in the meantime, we'll just put in there. The ceramic shop sells your pieces.
Yes,
so
they
people can go,
do.
your jigs, so they can go there and get them. Now you have a discount, 10% off. The ceramic shop is doing a discount as well, and we have that. So
good.
if somebody's shopping at the ceramic shop and they get your things and Amico things and Mako things and the new Flux glazes from Speedball things, you just go and you spend $100, you get $20 off. That was the deal they did. And
they are they're wonderful over there. They've been really great. Yeah. Yep. They'll be.
Let me give the code. It's
absolutely.
ClayShareCon 26, all capital letters.
There you go. For ceramic
Pretty
shop.
easy. Yeah. And then get your stuff. Oh, does this jig come in the hybrid system?
Oh my gosh. Someday. So I love, who said that? I need a name. That's my kind of person.
Michaela.
Yes, Michaela. I'm going to do it for you, sweetie. So all of what the plan is, and I will tell you the plan, but first let me show you what I'm doing so you can hear the plan, but also know what's going on. So clay first, then
I've got a plan.
I've got a plan. Okay, so with my first cut, to get this extra off the top, we're going to come in at an angle like that. Can you see that? So our second cut will be flat. Our first cut will be at an angle. And there is a reason for that. I have a method to all of my madness, because we are cutting off some of this clay here. It's not going to be making full contact. So we don't want to go too short. This is for your safety. I do this for you. Okay, so I'm going to go angled, and then I'll come in flat, and I'm going to tell you my plan. So the plan for the hybrid system, which we've just been really loving, is to adapt all of our regular hand building jigs, with the exception of the faceted, because the facets, there's no way you can get that on the wheel and not lose those angles. So the faceted will be the only one. But what we are hoping to do is to have all of our regular hand building jigs in hybrid form for you all. And we are hoping to have some more wheel bar sizes. If you are an Aspire wheel user, it's just the bar is so tiny. So it's probably not going to fit most of them. Some of them will fit, but these larger ones would be a blast on the wheel. And if you are having issues, like my wrists are so bad, getting this height on the wheel consistently is an issue for me. I'll do it if I have to. If I have a custom order for planters or anything like that, I will do it, but it's hard. It's hard on my hands. Even when I'm using my strong arm, it's still kind of tough. So to get something this tall consistently, it would be nice to have just an easier body-friendly way to do that. So Michaela, right? Me and you. We're going to do it. I'll call it the Michaela. Just kidding. In my heart, I will call it the Michaela. All right. Okay, so I've got it all nestled in here. So you can see we're all touching all the way around. Now, never forget we're bottoms up here. So this is going to be our little bottom section. While I have it on the wheel, on my banding wheel, and while I have it accessible, I'm just going to go ahead and score. And I'm going to come through this twice because this end is going to touch my table quite a bit as we're applying the buttons. So buttons, I'm in Midwest, so it's buttons. It's a D.
Button.
It's a
No,
D here in
I
Wisconsin.
don't even think I say the T's. Buttons.
Yeah.
Buttons.
Buttons. Just skip it.
Buttons.
Skip it all together.
Buttons. We have no T's in buttons, mittens, or kittens. They just don't exist.
Yeah,
The kittens.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
There's New England for you.
Just gone. Just, you know what? It's
Just
faster.
forget
we can
it.
Talk faster.
We got stuff to do with stack wood. I can't be saying
That's
those T's.
Got to stack wood. Kevin's got to stack wood. Okay,
No joke. We have I have wood
believe
sitting
you,
in my
honey.
driveway under 18 inches of snow that I have to stack after this ends. Not tonight.
No, not in
Tomorrow.
Tahiti. There's no snow in Tahiti. Okay, I'm going to bravely flip this, right? So we've got this guy on the inside. It really helps to keep our shape. You can manage and handle your form a little bit more, which is nice. So now we've got our bottoms down, and I'm going to bring you to the edge. I'm going to move my camera bravely here. I'm going to show you this little detail. I think I lost. Can you still hear me? Jess, can you give me a thumbs up? I can hear you. I think, okay. Something beeped in my ear, and I was like, I lost you. Okay, here I am. So we are going to add in this sweet little detail here, which is the little shirt detail. I think I lost my earbud. I'm going to switch with Scott, okay? Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties.
It's okay.
Okay. If I can't hear you, it kind of throws me off. Okay.
Can you hear me? You can hear me?
I can, dear.
Folks want to know if they want to buy the top cutter, which is available separately. Where can find that? Where can they find that?
Yeah, that will be if you go to the website under our tools section, there is a whole cutters section there for you. And then you'll see, and it will be labeled Crock Jig Top Cutter. And you know what? Come to think of it, the top one may not be on there yet, but I'll have Scott pop that on there for you guys. Because right now it's just the bottom one, now that I think of it. Okay, so I'm gonna move you a little bit further in here, take a ride with me. And then we've got our seam here. And we're gonna add in, like I said, this little sweet detail. Diamond Core has a carving tool that has this double line. And I was like, well, let's use that, right? Let's make it a shirt. So the reason I brought you, I know, right? So the reason I brought you to the end of the table is if you are carving this, you have two options. You can hold it and float it up in the air, or if it's on the table, you can only go as far as the tool goes before you have to kind of swoop out. If you're at the edge of the table or a taller banding wheel, you can drag this tool and then you can make a straight line. So that's why, I almost dropped that. That's why we are at the end. I used to be a hairdresser. I don't know if we've ever talked about that. And a trick they taught us in school was if you wanted a straight line, you put your thumb there and then you start. And then when you drag down, you're just guiding it all the way to your finger. I will do this when I'm cutting off the block too. If you want to use a ruler, of course, that is always an option. But if you give yourself a guide and just follow to your thumb, it usually comes out pretty straight. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Yay, we have a shirt. Okay, let's go back over here. Let's do some buttons. Buttons. All right, buttons. Okay, there we go. I've got them under wraps here. So our button cutters, I was looking on Etsy and trying to just find a set because sometimes I don't want to make things that people have already done. But what happens is when you buy cutters that aren't made for clay, they sometimes don't go all the way through because you don't know what the clay thickness is going to be. And a lot of those cutters are made for polymer clay, and the polymer community cuts their clay, they roll their clay very thinly. If you've never made anything with polymer before, it's very rarely 1/4 inch. That would be a lot of polymer clay. So what we did was we designed these to imprint to kind of give you an impression. Let me show you here. So it gives you an imprint, so no matter how thick your clay is. And then I have these this is like a handy, I think this is an electrical tool. These are technically clamps, but we use them, clay people use them for cutters. And then you can pick whatever size, and then you've got your guide there. It's always centered. You always know where it's at, and then it punches all the way through. So that was my solution to that. I've already pre-scored these for time because I'm a talker. And we are going to put these oversized buttons on. How cute. So while I'm doing this, Jess, we can chat. I'm just going to eyeball the spacing, guys. If you want to measure to your little heart's content, I love that for you. But for me, I'm just going to go for it here and slip and score.
So folks want to know if the faceted jig is more challenging to use than a straight-sided jig like this.
That's a great question. I don't think so. I think that the release is the only thing that makes it a little different because you can't twist. So, because you don't want to lose your facets. And I have a clay share class on the faceted. So if you're interested to see how I release that, you can go and check out that class. But I think that it just takes a little bit more to shape it, but I don't think it's necessarily harder. I just think there are special considerations. I will say for these larger projects, the release on this is a little more technical, and I'll show you when we get there. So I think the bigger we get, that's when we start to get into kind of more consideration that way. But faceted, I think if you just practice and, give it a shot and get those facets in deep enough, and a ton of cornstarch.
Ooh, I have another suggestion.
Oh yeah.
What if you make two crocks and put them together? Could it be a lamp base? Like wide mouth to wide mouth. And then you put a little, you could blend it in, but you could also use that as a chance to do like a decorative element, like a sprig right in there.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
We are going to talk lamps. I don't know if you saw to my right.
I saw you made some baby lamps.
Yeah,
yes, I love those. You've got to do that. I
love the lamps.
So we have, and they're battery operated?
They are. They're they're like USB rechargeable. So yeah, technically yes. But we love lamps around here. And then we've got one of our newer jigs is going to be a vase/lamp, which is going to be excellent. So I want to give some tips here. If you've not attached medallions or logos to the outside of a mug before, it can be really heartbreaking because sometimes this lifts off. And then that can be like, that doesn't show up sometimes until after you're done glaze firing. And then you've got your, your little add-ons that are poking off, and you don't want that. So when I push on these, I'm giving quite a bit of pressure. I don't know if my camera's picking it up exactly, but a little bit of slip is going to squeeze out here. And because I have the jig, yay, good. Because it's Kevin in my ear. Kevin says I'm the only one who can hear him. No one else can.
I can hear you. Me and you. We can hear him and no one else.
I said, Kevin's going to talk to me, and I'm going to say it. Kevin's talking to me in my ear. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks,
he's talking to you.
He's encouraging us. They don't know
like
that.
A little angel on your shoulder.
He is the whole time. The whole time, Kevin's in her ear. Okay,
he's got you covered.
You want to push, and the jig gives you that inside pressure. So if you ever want to stamp on jig or attach on jig, it's really nice because you've got this firm inner core, and you can really give it a lot of pressure. I think sometimes that's why the medallions pop off, is because people aren't pushing hard enough because they don't want to cave in. You don't want to cave in your mug. So it's like this really hard balance between giving it enough pressure. So when that's in there, you're able to give that counter pressure and really splooge your slip out.
Splooge.
Okay. I know. So I am going to go around and make sure I'm picking up any extra slip here. I'm going to lift this for you guys. So come through, and then any of this extra pointy stuff there, you want to make sure that you're getting off of there. If that rides through your firing, that will become sharp. So don't cut anyone while they're cooking. And I don't know what happened down here. I think I pushed a little hard. My seam popped a little bit, but we can just put that guy back together. I don't have perfect studio practice. Live is always an interesting beast. I'm like, what's going to happen today while I'm filming?
You never know.
What you never know.
Live.
Oh,
you don't know what's going to happen.
You just never know. I'm like, what are we going to laugh about in 10 years about what I said or did today? Okay, so our buttons are on. They are adorable. Scott had a really great idea. I was worried that maybe this would be too seasonal, if this felt too fall for people. He says, well,
I don't think it's fall.
I don't think so either, but he's like, well, just spin it around.
Fall. You button your clothes all year long, I hope.
You do, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
The deep V-neck jig, just wait. We'll just have like clothing inspired.
Yes, I mean, you could do a bikini.
Oh my gosh,
you could
a hoodie?
Do like,
a hoodie? I'm going to put, oh no. Listen, you've inspired me. I'm going to have a whole clothing line. Okay, so if you don't want the buttons year round, just turn it around and voila, look at that. You don't have any buttons. So, okay, that's on there. Now we are ready to release a little bit. We're going to do 2 releases here. The first one is going to free up some space for our foot. So I'm going to just make sure my top is nice and even. This will be just one flat cut. No need to do that V cut here. This is just to even out the top with the bottom. Whatever we do on the bottom, we want to match up on the top. And if there is any clay that's sticking or curling over, you'll want to release that. So I'm going to ask you to really trust this process with me, because releasing this form is going to take a little bit longer than a regular mug. I promise if you have enough cornstarch in there, it will come free, but do not force this part. I'm going to stand because this form is just a little bit bigger. And remember, we've created all kind of suction in here too. So I am going to, maybe we'll switch to the top just for a second here. Let's get fancy with our camera work.
You want to tell us what clay do you use when you make bigger
Oh,
things like
yeah.
this?
Yeah, so this is standard 112, and this is a speckled tan, and I'll show you on the bottom here. But I want you to see what I'm doing here to release. I'm not twisting from the middle. I'm really kind of anchoring in close to the clay. My hand is supporting. Don't smush your buttons. We just made those cute. And then I am pulling the clay toward myself, and I am turning the opposite way. So the motion is like this, okay? That is the motion. And I already felt it release, so I see it turning, so I know it's not on there for the rest of my life. But what I want to do is, when I see it twist, I want to slowly start twisting and then pulling up. Sorry, that's technical, but it's just, if you call me in a panic, I will answer and I will walk you through this, I promise. But trust the process. It will take a little bit longer, and we'll come back to the side view and I'll show you what I just did here. It can get a little panicky if your form's not coming off right away. I've been there and I'm like, oh no, it's stuck on here forever. But if you have your release agent, just give it time. It will pop. So we have come up, what, maybe 1/4 inch, and that frees up a little bit in the bottom. Now we don't have the support here, so don't smush your bottom in, like I'm sure I just did. And then we are going to set this little guy off to the side, and we are going to bring over our bottom here, which is pretty firm. So nothing's really flopping around. I've got my maker's mark already in there. Make sure you've got your direction of pattern if that isn't a thing for you. I have texture on the inside and the outside. So it's a little, I can kind of flip them and it's not a big deal. So I'm going to score this. We can chat while I'm attaching the bottom, Jess. Any other standard?
Folks want to know if they should wait for this in the hybrid system or they should just get this jig now.
I would do it now.
It could be like a year or something, right? Is that where
it could? Yeah. It could. Yeah, you should see our laundry list of jigs that we have coming out. So, and then we would likely start at the beginning of our line with our more established jigs and then switch those to hybrid before our new ones. Does that make sense? Kind of start at the beginning and then work our way. But what I will say is that if you ever see a jig that you love and you don't have it yet, check to see if it is in hybrid, because the hybrids you could use both ways. You cannot use these both ways, but the hybrid, you could just buy the hybrid, use it on or off the wheel if you want, if that makes good sense.
It makes great sense.
Good. Look at me making sense on a Saturday morning.
I feel like you always make sense. I know. I forget it was Saturday. That is weekend, but
I speak your language. That's why. No, like sometimes I feel floaty. I'm like, I know what she's saying. This is hard to. This is like I speak this language. Okay, so I'm gonna dry fit kind of. I did put my vinegar slip on there, and once it's matched up nicely, I'm going to give it just a little bit of downward pressure. Remember, we're hollow down here now, so I don't want to push too hard on this bottom, but you just want to make sure that you're not coming off the edge on that. And then I will use the jig to just kind of, you can tap if you feel brave, but what we want to see again is that little line of slip coming out. Now I'm going to come through with my finger first, just to establish that, get it to stay put, and then I'm going to grab my little shark fin. Let's bring you in a little bit closer. I'm sometimes the camera person always. Go for a ride with me. I hope there's no fellow dizzy people out there. Okay, so with our foot tool, I'm going to start wide. I'm going to come out to the second position, and then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to remove more material here. You want your base to be kind of heavy on this one, so we're just streamlining. This is more of a design choice for me, and then we want to compress this seam so it's not coming apart on us. But a crock, a utensil crock, something that's going to hold things that people are pulling items in and out of, you don't want it too light. You don't want it floppy, because people, when they grab for a spatula, you don't want to knock something over. You don't want, you want this to be substantial. Everyone is expecting this to kind of be a weightier piece because it stays on the countertop and it's a holder. It's supposed to keep things staying put. So you don't want anything too tippy or anything like that. Whoops, sorry guys. Okay, now I'm going to flip. We can chat. This will, I fuss here for a second. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
So someone made a butter dish and they were pulling and they pulled so hard they broke the handle off.
Oh boy.
So yeah, and then there was a suggestion maybe use a nylon stocking over the form, which, yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't know if the butter dish is yours.
It
She
is
just
not.
said
I was
it's a
just, yep.
3D butter dish form. So I do think definitely you need cornstarch. Hosiery, great idea because it
Sure.
stretches.
Yeah.
You could do both. Honestly, you can't
Yeah.
go wrong if you do both. Same with your jigs. Couldn't someone use nylon
absolutely
stocking on the jig and then cornstarch their slab? So it's like
Absolutely. Yeah.
the first time I used your jigs, I didn't use cornstarch. That was fun.
Did it stick?
Yeah.
Will you ever make that mistake again?
No, I learned.
Yeah.
I learned. You learn, live and learn, baby. Yeah.
I've done that once, and I was like very dramatic because I'm like, I will never do this again. I like vowed. I'm like, I will never forget this. It was such a nightmare. You just honestly, okay, I am dramatic. You guys should know that. It's tough, but what you do is you would cut your bevel at the seam, you would get it off, keep it will cup up still, keep the shape, cornstarch a little bit more, and then just reapply your seam. It's honestly, it's not the worst thing ever. It does stink. You don't want to do that. It's not ideal, but you can get around it, So, but yeah, I swear that happens once and then it probably will never happen again because you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that 2 times in a row. 2 times. Some mistakes we just don't want to repeat. Okay, so our bottom's on. I did bevel the top here. You don't want anything sharp up here. People are pulling in and out of this when they're taking their utensils. So you do want a substantial rim for this. No one's drinking out of this. Although I am going to put some handles on some of these and just make them really fun, oversized, because I'm weird. So anyhow, because why not? And probably a really tiny one, because that's like my favorite place to be. So we've got our bottom on. If you wanted to this could be your last step here. I sometimes carve in, I sometimes don't. I'll give you an example of what both of those look like. So sometimes I carve in the bottom here, gives the glaze a little creepy, a little creepy place to run. And then here's one that just is down to the bottom here. So your choice there, but this would just take a nice little sponging at leather hard. Let's get the rest of this out of here. I will show you while we chat, Jess, how to clean up the inside. I'm just going to take care of my 2 seams and then we can talk about stuff. I've got some new stuff to show you. I've got stuff. So let's come. Ooh. Actually, you know what? We're going to Scott's already on it. Look at him. He's already ready to go.
He's switched.
All right. Cool.
So folks are asking, what is the hybrid system using these forms? Well,
no.
Alex did a video yesterday.
Yes,
it's on ClayShare. You can go watch it. And she did a spectacular job with that. That was the lunchtime. I was eating my turkey sandwich.
I was having lunch with you.
I watched. Yeah, no. Well, I watched and I was so thankful because when we started ClayShareCon, Kevin and I didn't get any breaks at all.
You didn't get to eat or drink?
No, and running to the restroom were very quick. So now I can eat lunch, which makes me a much happier Jessie. So, but I was watching you and I was like, this is so cool. So if you missed that, you can go watch it. Just like you'll be able to watch the replay of this.
I would love that. Yeah, the hybrid system, it was born out of physical need. I have bad, from the waist up. So I've got like bad wrists, shoulders, elbows, my goodness. So throwing for a long time at the wheel, getting really tall forms, just like that, it's hard. I can do it, but sometimes it's hard on my body. And then also what I was finding is people were just kind of having just some skill limitations, just people want to make things bigger than what they can do. And practice is always, of course, like this doesn't replace the practice of it and the mechanics of learning how to throw. I know a lot of people got really upset because they were saying it wasn't real. And I'm like, oh, it's real. You're still dealing with the clay. You're still starting with the same block of clay. But, sometimes there's just an outcome that you're looking for that you just can't quite get there. So we wanted to make something that was accessible for people. I wish you guys could, I wish I could show you all the messages. Just we talked a little bit about this, but just the graciousness and people saying that they have not been able to throw out the wheel in years, and now they can. We have some people from there's the Brain Injury Institute in UK that they're buying some they've got
that's
some
so
sets.
Wonderful.
It's just it started off with
it just makes it. It's adaptive technology. It makes it so that you can make pottery. There are people out there who, without these tools that we're sharing, and we talked about this with the strong arm, that without these tools, they would not be able to make pottery at all. So absolutely. You, with what you're creating, your company, you make it possible so that people can make pottery. And that is a huge thing. It's huge because you know how important
really
pottery is
amazing.
in our lives.
Absolutely. It's been really amazing. And the soapbox, and I won't be here long because, I can be here long, but I think that we find the tools that help us make the beautiful things we want to make, right? And the tools don't make the person, they don't make the potter. If it can help you along, then there's no shame in that. Like, I'm going to make a shirt, bumper stickers, but honestly, use the tools. It just whatever comes along, if it helps you make, if you have a vision for something you want to make and there's something out there that helps you get there, I don't think there are any shortcuts. I think that you just use the tools. Don't let the tools use you. You use the tools and then make it your own. And I think it's great.
They're tools. That's why they're called tools.
Exactly.
They're not used, they're tools.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope you all send me pictures. I love to see photos. What I make from these tools will look completely different than what you will make because we're individual. We all have an individual style. We all do things differently. So just because you're using the same base, this thing, it doesn't mean that the end outcome is going to be the same. We have surface decoration, colors, texture.
Different.
It is so different. So I love that. Yeah, the hybrid system, if you haven't seen it, I have a ton of videos out there. I have full tutorials on YouTube, but you can see the clay share one I just did yesterday, and you're basically just spinning slab on wheel, and it just gives you a format to do that. Gives it legs.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's
Any
wonderful.
other questions?
So people want that vase jig. They're like, what's the vase jig?
What's up? I know.
What's
my gosh, we're so excited.
You can't have that out there and people not ask.
Oh my goodness. Do you ever bog Kevin down? The answer is no. But I have all these ideas.
Do I ever bog Kevin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Poor Scott. I'm like, hey, I want to do this. Can you make that? I want buttons. Like, can you do this? And he's just like mad scientist, he's just designing a mile a minute. But this was something, actually, we had someone request this shape and we took it and we altered it. She gave us a jumping off point and then Scott went and he made adjustments and we kind of made it our own, which was really nice. So this is going to be a 3-piece setup because it is hard with our jigs to get this really nice curve because how do you remove it, right? So if you build it this way, it's not coming out, right? And then if you're building this way, it's also not coming out. So we have a 3-piece set, which I have. This can be kind of this deal too, like this vase. So you can mess around and do all different configurations, but ideally this will become a vase, but also a lamp. So I have plans for this guy. And then you can optionally put the collar if you want it more traditionally. And then these would be joined together by 3 pieces. I will actually use coils for this. You know how I love coiling. Like, this one we will have to. So what I will teach you in a future class, maybe I can come back on and debut it with you guys.
100%. Come back.
Absolutely. It would be lovely. So, and then I'll have a bottom and then you can wire it up. I would love that. So this is our little 3-piece. And then we have, will you hand me, honey, the square? I'm going to make Scott do some work here. Okay, so then we've got some oval shapes, which I have been wanting to do this for so long because I love the oval shape. So these can be containers, maybe even casserole dishes eventually. And then we have some rectangles, which is just, this is going to be so much fun. This will be kind of a shallow catch tray. I was even thinking we could do like a little bathroom caddy, toothbrush, jewelry holder situation. So
yes.
I've got ideas, but you will see a lot more different shapes and sizes. We're going to go bigger and just kind of get more creative with it now that we have our baseline. And then there'll just be a million of them.
Different things.
Sky's the limit. Yeah. So we're excited about those. Any other questions?
Glaze plans for your crocks. I mean, you got one finished there.
I do. I have, you should see they're everywhere. I've got 2 back there. So you guys don't know this, but I practice. I know it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't seem like she does, but we do. So we have to like run through. You've got camera angles. So anything that I make for clay share, we always have a million of them, which is great because then I'll take them to market and I'll sell them and it'll be great. So I have been glazing a lot. Look at this one that I did with your Avalon template. Ooh, did you see? I don't know. I think I have a video on Instagram. I didn't see
that video. You used the template for the top to cut the rim. Fancy pants. Look at that.
I know. It reminds me of a castle, Chateau de Utensils.
Chateau de Alex.
So beautiful. So I saw your marigold template. I don't know. You were showing something earlier this week. And I was thinking like, I have to give that. This was so much fun. Just a quick tip, bonus content. When you do
Love
this,
the
the clay,
bonus.
I know, right? The clay will be a little bit higher than the jig, but that's okay. So you just won't trim off, your decorative edge. So just mind when you are building it, just have to be mindful of that one. And this is straight up and down. So you can build this with your decoration up. But yeah, so I've been using the rim templates. So you can do a lot of fancy pants. This is white opal. Let's get into some glazes,
Love that
right?
white opal.
So Mako, white opal, and then you can do the manganese wash first, which really darkens it up. That's so pretty. And then this is birch, a lot of Mako glazes. Oh, I tried a new one, which I want to try your nutmeg. I saw that. And it was similar to this one. So this is Sequoia. This is Kentucky Mudworks, which we took a trip down there and I had never tried their glazes. So I brought a cart full home because I couldn't stop myself. So this is Sequoia, Kentucky Mudworks. I don't know if you've all ever tried these. They're really lovely. They're kind of in between an Mako, just for how much you have to apply. So Mako, I'm usually a 2-coat. Amico, I'm usually a 3-coat. This one's kind of like 2.5, like 2 regular and then 1 light at the very end. So
We got
that's
30
that.
seconds.
Gotcha, honey. Green tea.
I hate
And then
rushing.
we're done. Oh,
I know.
no, that's okay. I know I take up a lot of time. So
Mako
that's
green
that.
tea? You
Mako
fire
green tea.
cone 5, cone 6.
I bisque 5, I bisque 05, fire 5.5. So 5 with like a 15-minute
Yeah, that's about what I do. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I learned from you. It should be exact.
That's
But I
awesome.
glaze fast. I bisque slow, glaze fast. Standard 112 is the clay. You guys know where to find me. I'm around. This has been so lovely. I love you guys.
We love you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
what fun
Alex,
we
for
have.
being
You're
part of
welcome.
ClayShareCon again, as always. And hang around. We'll chat for a second.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you so much. All right,
Bye,
so
y'all.
you can find her
Alexandria Pottery Tools Co.com. And we shared it in the chat, so you can go ahead and find it. She's also on Instagram, so you can follow her there if you're not yet. You need to do that. And if you go to her YouTube, she's got things as well. So there's lots and lots and lots of good resources for you all. That's one of the things we really want to do. You know, we're all about helping and promoting small businesses here at ClayShare. We're all about sending you lots of resources and lots of places so you can learn. No matter what it is you like to make, we want to have something for you. So they have a discount right now at their website. You can get 10% off with the code Pottery10. So get your jig set while you can. Get them while they're hot. And then you can be making a utensil crock and put buttons, kitten buttons on it, or mitten buttons. Kittens wearing mittens on your buttons. Whatever you want to do. All right, so we have a recorded video from Malin at Plum Island Transfers. And then we're going to be coming back after that with, I want to make sure I don't get my schedule confused. There's a lot to keep it all in the head. We'll be back at 12:30 with the Pottery Toolkit. And we have another full afternoon. The giveaways start at 5:30. We are giving away that kiln. We're giving away a wheel. We're giving away so many other things. If you haven't signed up yet, go to clayshare.com and sign up for our emails. And again, premium members, automatically, baby. Always entered. You don't have to do anything. Sit back, another cup of tea, coffee, daiquiri, whatever. I am going to be doing a mocktail tonight. So come along and learn how to make a caramel apple mocktini with me. And yeah, you could throw vodka in it if you want, but we're doing no alcohol here. So, all right, go and have lunch. See you after.